Hello, everyone out there. This is Tina of Tenderly Stitched again. I am wanting to share with you the quilts of QuiltCon. We're here at QuiltCon 2025 in Phoenix, and I tell you, I've been a member of the Modern Quilt Guild for a number of years. I haven't really made that many truly modern quilts because I'm more of a modern traditionalist, I'd say. I like the both worlds and I like expressing and making quilts of both types. But I guess I tend to make more traditional quilts than modern quilts. But you know what? As I learn more, I probably will do it or at least finish more quilts with modern I'd say modern techniques, modern flair or flavor, so that when people look at it, they'll say, that's a little modernish of a quilt, at least, right? Anyway, what I wanted to share with you here is the community outreach quilts. And then I wanted to stop and take a moment to share. Well, the reason why I wanted to take a moment to share these with you is because it's one of the things that we enjoy as quilters, right? Quilters of anywhere. So it doesn't have to be the Modern Quilt Guild. But one of the things that's great about quilting is that we get to quilt together. You get to quilt with friends. You get to quilt with people you enjoy being around. You get to quilt with people who have a shared interest with you with respect to the things you like about quilting. So if you're an embroiderer or appliquer or someone who enjoys more patchwork or a person who enjoys more quilting, like actually making the quilt motifs on the quilts, then you are able to find those people that enjoy the part of the craft that you enjoy doing, and y'all get to work together. Y'all, so whether y'all are in a formal bee or you're an informal bee, or maybe your guild location as a whole is known for a certain thing. So certainly the Modern Quilt Guild and the various locations are known for doing having a bunch of people who like modern quilting in it, right? So you're enjoying sewing and making modern quilts with those people. Anyway, I say all that to say that a lot of times I get asked the question, why do we quilt, right? Because a lot of people think that quilting is something that old people do. Well, certainly when you see these quilts here at the Modern Quilt Guild, you realize that yes, there are those of us like myself who still love vintage quilts and we make those vintage quilts, but there's quilts, modern quilts have a whole new flair. And the main thing I would say that people have always enjoyed about quilting, no matter what type of quilting you like to do, is quilting with friends and building those relationships that you will have probably throughout with your life with respect to the people that you craft with and quilt with. The other thing is we travel together. There are quilt programs where you go on cruises, you go on trips around the world, and you really do explore the textile arts at a whole other new level, right? Anyway, that's why I wanted to share the outreach quilt. So band of people who've come together and who've made each quilt here. And I'm going to turn this around so I can start to show you some of these beautiful quilts. So these quilts are made by each of the guilds that chose to take the fabric pack, excuse me. So each started with the same number of fabric colors and the same amount of fabric. And they came together, picked their design, and they quilted their quilt. They've submitted to this special exhibit here at QuiltCon. And then the quilts are actually sold for philanthropic. Oh, did I say that right? Philanthropic reasons. Charity. I just have to use the word charity. Charity. And the charity is going to receive the funds that are raised from these quilts that I'm about to show you. There's quite a bit of them. So that's going to be quite a bit of money raised for the youth here in Arizona. So that's one of the things I love about QuiltCon is that in each location, each city, every year that QuiltCon is in, that these quilts go to the community outreach and the funds go. And I want to say, I can't remember what year it was, but one year, our Houston Modern Quilt Guild, they had done a fantastic job on that particular quilt. And we raised, I think it was $8,000 or $10,000. So, some of these quilts go for a lot. They really do, depending on who buy them. So this title is Arizona Block Party. And as you can see, they went with mostly a lot of the light colors that were in the color palette. And then they've used some very simple blocks. I mean, someplace you see a bit of a rail fence, you see a bit of a half square triangles, you see the plus block. So they just had fun with it. And then the beautifulness is they finished with a beautiful quilting design and it's a curve-based design. I've seen this quilting pattern. I, I've highlighted it to my long armor as one of the ones I like because I plan on using it on a quilt. And you use a beautiful overall design like that on a quilt like this because you really don't want the quilting to overpower the piecing. So there's very large piecing done here on this quilt. And I have to say that was a perfect choice on the quilting motif. Nice medium-sized density quilting all over pattern, and that's just a compliment. And the other reason why it's a compliment, not only because of the quilt motif itself, but because of the thread chosen, because you see that the color doesn't compete with any color in here, but it is not a basic white. That is a bit of an off white. It looks like it has a tinge of, there's a tinge of I don't know if that I can't tell if that's a off white with a tinge of beige in it or off white with a tinge of a, like a corally color in it. But you could definitely see that there's a tinge of color in that thread when you're standing here. And the other thing that you will notice about the quilting, um, besides for the thread color and the density, uh, wait, where did my thought process go? Because I'm going to tell you one more thing. What was the other thing I was going to tell you? Uh, oh shoot, it's gonna have to come back to me because definitely when you're picking your thread color, excuse me, when you're picking your quilting motif, you take into consider the quilt density, the thread weight, the thread color, because as you can see, they wanted the thread to show up just enough. So when you're up close, like here, I'm about 2 feet away from it, although I have the camera closer, you can see the stitches. So you choose your color and your thread weight so that you decide whether you want it to sink into the quilt and not be seen at all, or you want it to stand out just a little bit. And I would say that when you're here in person, the stitches there stand out in just enough. So I'm going to pick up the pace a bit because I said quite a bit there about that one particular quilt. So it gives us a good amount of foundation for the next quilts. So here is the St. Louis Modern Quilt Guild. Really cute, fun quilt. Nice big patches. And what I'd say is what they basically wanted to do was highlight the quilting. Because look at all of that wonderful work that they've done. And as opposed to that previous quilt, they have chosen to use the blue in the negative space, so that gives you a lot of a darker look at the overall quilt, and then the bright colors are popping off against it. Isn't that something? So I want to say they used two of the corally colors and maybe three of the green, tealy colors, and then all of the blue. Fantastic. Such a difference. Oh, here, the Valley Lines and Bars, which is from is that Valley? Yeah, Valley Martin Quilt Guild, they've chosen to use the green as the background. So more of a medium color, so not light enough to be considered a neutral, certainly, but definitely not as dark as the blue that we previously looked at. And look at the improvisational piecing that they basically used. And then I would say if you really come in, again, another quilt motif that I really love as far as an all over design, which shows up quite nicely in the negative space, and it looks like they've used a bit of a golden, maybe. No, no, no. My eyes are failing me. That's not quite a gold. That's a sage. That's more of a sage thread color that was used, and I love it because that means that that sage has just enough green and just enough gold in it to complement that quilting. Here is Gamma. Can you hear me? I love that title from the um, Montana. This is a group out of Clinton, Montana. I love it. And I love the quilt motif. Oh my goodness, look at that. I love how it is changing from the circles to the curvature to the in and out. Now, I don't know what quilt pattern this is, but I'm putting my long armor on notice that I need that to be found because I love that quilt motif. Don't you just love like when you come and you see the work that others have done, how inspiring it can be, how it can you can get ideas for what you want to do. Look at this, lines of variance. And now, already from the title, I know that this one will be entitled something that they're going to be changing lines all over the place, right? From the title. And in fact, they do. So look at this, though. If you think about it, that's a log cabin. These two are very thin log cabins because this is the block here. I'm sorry, this all the way over and up and over is the block because that's a log cabin and that's the same log cabin placed together. So if you think about it, they've taken a log cabin and they've squished it. Um, and basically, all of these are variations on the traditional log cabin. And I love the fact that they designed that fantastic. And then look at the overall quilt pattern because they've also taken the idea of the lines of variance into the quilt motif because the quilting is going and coming out in a diamond pattern from the right to the left, and then it just propagates. That point is propagating across the point, dead center, pretty much not say dead center, but in the center of the quilt, and that is fantastic. So you get a very uniform look to from the quilt motif, but those lines are all over the place. Loving it. So I love the use of lines in this one as well. The leaf peeping title is that one, and I also love this one. And again, sometimes you pick very simple piecing, and then you can also pick very simple quilting. And I tell you, that quilt will be enjoyed by whoever wins it in the auction. Now, that is row number one for us. Let me pick up the pace a little bit more. So Peace Train, railroad tracks. Maybe that's the thinking of this, but for me, I see a lot of improvisational piecing. I see a good balance of colors, of all of the colors that were available to use, and they did a really good job of putting that all together. Love this one, I have to say. I love this Crossroads. Ah, so I'm not sure how they got away with using fabrics that were not in the kit. I have to read the rules, but they definitely got the color palette nailed. Look at all of those beautiful scrappy fabrics that have been used throughout this. Also look at the hand quilting that's been done right along with the machine quilting, and I just love the fun nature of this. That is one of the things that I love about the modern quilting color palette. It's the vibrant hues of the colors that are used. I just love it. So even the dark colors have a brightness to them, right? And even your dark greens in this have a bit of a brightness to them. And I just love that. I just absolutely love that. That's a fun quilt. That's something I actually would make, and that's inspired me to do something on the diagonal. I do like this one as well, out of Salt Lake, uh, Utah. Very fun quilt indeed. A lot of good improvisational piecing. And I love that quilt motif. I definitely have seen that one before. I know that's not quite a daisy, so to speak, but that definitely has a flower petal kind of look to it. Love it. All right, just amazing, just amazing. And they have capitalized amazing and put a dot in between it. All right, Fort Collins, Colorado. I like it. And look at what they have just hidden right there. Just a little bit of something. Y'all see those vinyl records right there? I love that when a quote has something a little hidden in it, and it just makes me want to step back and see what else is hidden. I see something else hidden right down here. Do you see it with me? Yeah, I see the fish. All right, I love what they did there. That just is fun to me. This quilt is actually fantastic as well. African retro. Let me see. African retro. Let me see. Oh, so they took some African fabrics and they blended them in. Now, this is not a color palette that is normally linked to African quilts. So, Wake Forest, North Carolina, well done on this one. You enter, what's the word? You integrated some less expected fabric into your modern quilting, and I love the quilt pattern. Absolutely love that quilt pattern. That definitely is going on my list, and I know my long armor is going to see this video, so I'm appreciative already of her finding that for me, so I can use it. Look at that summertime feel. I love this quilt. There's some quilts that you look at and you just know that people are they're gonna use them, and that's one that they will definitely use. Well done, Fairfield, California, Sacramento Quilt Guild. I like that one as well. I knew that was a bridge as soon as I saw it. Love the improvisational nature there and a good use of all of the colors. Pickup six is one of the quilt patterns that's on um, my to-do list. I've done a couple of blocks to start mine, so good job, Las Vegas Quilt Guild, Thomas and Dexter. When I think of Dexter right now, I think of the TV show. I know that ain't got nothing to do with the TV show, so I'm gonna have to look up what they did, why they did that one. The pouring effect and louder. That makes sense on this one indeed. Uh, pouring effect. Okay, I have to look that one up. That one is fun indeed. Oh, I like this one, the diversity quilt. Oh, that is cute. Look how each of the women, I'm going to have to come in so you can see all of these. You could see the lady there, the handwork in the lady there, her, and her, and her, and then there's several more along the way. There's several down there. Fantastic. Mumbai. Yeah, y'all did a fantastic job on that quilt. I love it. I hope that that wins a heck of a lot of money. I also love the quilting that's done in it. I see kites, I see straight line quilting, I see trees, I see all sorts of things hidden. I even see clam quilt motif in there. Sweater. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, thank you. Sweater, sweater, weather, knit together. I love it. For those of us who've lived in cold climates in during our life, we know exactly what sweater weather means. There's a lot of good time indoors and time to do a lot of things. So with that, I love the fact that they've used that twisted quilt pattern right there throughout. I love that quilt pattern right there, meaning that one right there. I'm gonna have to look that up. Oh, nice overall design. And then we have some cross hatching in there as well to keep it interesting. And I even love the negative space fabric, which has a bit of looks like it's a batik with a bit of a light sage color to it versus say a taupe or gray or beige. I love it when your neutrals are more of a light pastel color. And a good friend of mine, Miss Rowe, taught me that because she learned it from Eleanor Burns. Neutrals don't have to be air quotes fingering my at the moment air quotes. Neutrals don't have to be neutrals because they there could be a tinge of color in the neutral and it adds that much more interest to your quilt. I'm loving that. I'm loving that flight path. Love that. Um, I was interested in this one and the story behind it. I'm gonna have to meet somebody in the Portland, Oregon Martin Quilt Guild, so I can get an idea of the history behind how they came up with this one, and how they wound up with a big shrimp in the middle of their quilt. That is just fun. So again, you can do whatever you like with your quilts and what you do, and you're gonna find people that you enjoy doing and making with. And I just love the fact that folks have a bit of fun with their quilts. During that life between the lines, celebrating our connectedness. Oh, I like that theme all by itself because we don't celebrate our connectedness enough. And I don't mean connected through modern technology, but connected through the heart. Oh, that is Baltimore. See, love y'all, love home. Oh, of all ones to stop on. Yes, I'm so glad I caught my Baltimore quilt right there. And I bet if I look, I will see home. So I graduated from the University of Maryland, so I definitely see the Turk right there. Doesn't take me long to see that. And if I look a little, take a little longer to think, I know I can see different parts of home throughout this whole quilt. Obviously, that's the bridge right there. One of our infamous bridges, indeed. Love it. Anyway, love the fact that they took the time once again, because actually one of the first quilts I saw from Baltimore done a few years ago. I want to say that was actually the first quilt con that I came to. They had actually taken pieces of home and the themes from home and place them in quilts. So I love when a quilt represents the home. And look at that. Hey, I've stopped on another one, Cleveland, the roads that bind. So I bet that is a map of Cleveland. Yeah, don't you see the map? You see the map just right there. Bioluminescence. Love that. Love Modern Tennessee Bar Quilt. Okay, there's a story behind that. If you know anything that got the title bar in it, there's a story behind that. I hope that you are enjoying some of these as I'm going through, because, like I said, we all get inspired from seeing and looking at other people's quilts. Some of the smallest and biggest things that they do, it doesn't matter whether it's the patchwork, it's the embroidery, it's the applique, it's the thread choice, it's the quilt motif choice, whatever it is that you enjoy doing within quilting, there's something that you do that will inspire others. Now I'm going to come into this one and I'm just going to, yes, the overall theme, because of the title is Tetris, but look how they just fussy cut it. My little girls in there. I love that. I love when, and look at the apples are fussy cutted in here as well. And I see ladybugs over here. See the ladybugs. So I love it when there's just little hidden things in quilts. And I find that funny that I say this on this video right now because I was just talking about that with a quilter that I connected with this morning. Again, another good reason to come to a quilt conference is you just sit down and start having conversation with people. And it was actually a lady out of Fort Worth. And we just started talking because she had gotten caught in a tiny piece in court class. And we were talking, I talked about her, telling her about my tiny piece class that I got in by chance one time, and what we're going to do with those tiny pieces that we worked on. And look, there's tiny pieces in that quilt. Oh my goodness, so much to see, so much to see. There seems to be, I'm gonna have to read the description of the, I have to read the description of what was given because it seems to be a lot of quilts, improvisational and not, that used lines. Now we'll have to say blue lines and golden bars. This is going to be one of my favorites. Well done, Philadelphia. Um, First of all, the diamond in the middle of the blocks, love it. Love the piecing. Love how you have a secondary pattern. I love quilts that have a secondary pattern. So you see how the stripes are going in different directions. But really, the secondary pattern is made by the stripes and the diamonds, right? And I also love the quilt motif. A lot of times people choose a curved quilt motif when they have a quilt that is highly geometric, which this one would be considered highly geometric. So I love the fact that they've done that too. So the curves tend to soften the geometry of the quilt, and they've done a fantastic job of that indeed. So some more quilts that are very improvisational, loving it. Some more sticks, some more lines. I think this is an improvisational. Some of these look like improvisational log cabins, and I love it. And I love how, have a look. So let me see if I can explain this in good words for you. So see how you have a dominant white strip, orangey, blue, and then orange again. I love that how they have done that transition from color to color vertically, and then your blocks are placed within those vertical columns, and how that just all comes together. That is great work right there. Great work by that team out of Massachusetts. Love that. That's a lot of planning that went into that. Even if it was improvisation within a moment. All right, love that as well. Another pickup stick one there, little sticks there. So yeah, I'm gonna have to read to see what was because I see a lot of straight line dominant type quilts. And I'm wondering if there was a reason. Good vibrations, love that. Now remember, I just said a lot of times you'll use a curved quilting motif in order to soften the lines of the quilt. Now look how the quilt box placement, which are giving an optical illusion. Oh, why could I not get the word optical out? I don't know. I might need a break. That's because I've been talking for 25 minutes already. I see. But anyway, the quilt blocks give you an optical illusion, and then the quilt motif which is a wavy line, complements that optical illusion. So let me come in so you can see those waves. Now, this is the second time we've seen that quilt motif in this section, I do believe, or it was in the youth quilt section. So, isn't that fantastic? All right, so what else we got? We got the green flashlight. We got that. Let's see what else that we have coming down. Oh, I love the quilt motif. I love how the quilt motif just pops off of that. I like that quilt motif. It says Wonky Rose, Indianapolis, Indiana quilt guild. Love that quilt motif. I'm definitely gonna look that one up. I like that. That's just fun. It all flows. Yes, it does. It reminds me of the same all roads lead to Rome. Um, Okay. Let me see. What's the title of that? Linear inequality. Oh, that's a meaning behind that quilt. I see hearts in the quilt motif. I like that. I like that. All right. All right. Here we go. We have a mixture of circles and diamonds in that connection. Absolutely. I
You have a
agree.
YouTube channel?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, awesome! I
Yes.
do too. So
Oh,
let me get you. Tell me your channel. You'll
hello,
be on my next
everybody.
YouTube video.
Tina of Tenderly Stitch. Hello, everyone. And your name is?
I'm Tracy from the Sewing
Where are
Channel.
you out of?
I'm out of Ohio.
Ohio. I'm out of Houston. Nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you too. You'll be in my video.
Oh, I'll have to look it
All
up.
right, now wait a minute. I got to be in yours, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You said it.
I'm
Yeah.
Tracy from the Sewing Channel. You need to
Yes,
go over there, check it out, and
absolutely.
do all the
Ohio.
things.
All the things.
All the things, girl.
And thank you for taking the time to share and show because this is how people get to know and
Absolutely.
hopefully come in the future.
Yep, we're doing our due diligence over
That's
here.
right. See you. Now, I had a feeling this was going to be one of my favorites here because look at that. Rail lines of Fort Worth, Texas, 1873. This tells a story. I love a quilt that tells a story. Well done, Fort Worth, Texas, uh, Quilt Guild. First of all, look at all the lines. That was the map. And if you come in, you can see how they actually appliqued down the. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. I got to get a little closer. Yes, they appliqued down the words. So each of the names of the railroad lines, they've used the rail fence quilt pattern in it and thrown in the curves as well. I love it. I would have loved this without the map, but I love the fact that how the map is on top of the overall quilt design. So I don't know if the background quilt blocks were meant to signify what they were meant to signify, but I love it. Absolutely love it. And as I get closer to the speaker, hopefully you can still hear me well because I've got one more row to go. And I wanted to make sure you see all the ones in this. So look at that woven sangria. I just love the title of this one. So when I saw it, I knew I had to share it with the group. Uh, well done. What is that? Somerville, Massachusetts. So well done. And also love that book motif. So let's see what we got going on here. So hopefully you can still hear me well because as I finish this last row, I saw this earlier and I love me some diamonds. I love me some diamond piecing. So whether it's by traditional patchwork or by foundation paper piecing, I love this. Now let me come in so you can see. what they actually did, because look how the diamond motif is this way and then you're going this way. So that's why you get the secondary pattern of this diamond on top versus the main diamond in the middle. And because of color placement, you see the blue diamond, the blue green diamond first, and then you see the corally and yellow diamond in more in the back. So good color placement on that one, bar none, nice. And Martin Strata right there. The stripes that bind us, I thought this was fantastic. I saw that in the magazine. Absolutely loved that quilt as well. I loved this uh, peach ripple. Well, all right, they went with just basically two of the colors, or rather three. Okay, they did a plaid interpretation of a plaid design, another pickup stick one, and oh, I like the stripped summit. I think that's a mountain indeed, and this had to be Colorado. I know that had to be skiing. And look at that! Look at that! They put the quilting in. Look at what they've done in the quilting in the background. So we've got the sun, we've got various interpretations of, I wouldn't say it's really clouds, right? Because they got a little bit of everything in there. I want to say that's like wind over here. Um, maybe what would that be? No, let me see. Which would be a good thing? Coldness, because I'm about to be skiing in Colorado next week, so that's basically coldness to me. But look at that beautiful interpretation of the mountain. Look at the slopes that have been stitched in through the quilting, and I love it. I love the fact that they chose to represent home. So anyway, that is it for me. I've taken you around two sections of the quilt. Let's see if this will come around to me. There we go. I've taken you around to two sections of the QuiltCon conference here in Phoenix. So hope you've enjoyed this on YouTube. If you caught this on YouTube, know that I basically went down, let me get my bearings. I went down this side on YouTube. But if you want to see the quilts that I also did on Instagram and Facebook, go ahead and go over there and take a look at those. I know some people don't go between social media, but some of y'all do. So hey, again, this is Tina of Tenderly Stitched, and I hope that you've been inspired to quilt and explore quilting, learn about quilting, get involved, first of all. Two, if nothing else, you've been inspired to find a craft or hobby, period, because we all need one. And I hope that you generally enjoyed it. So look out for the various quilt conferences that are in your area. Most quilt guilds also do a local show, whether it's every 2 years or every 3 years. They have some sort of, frequency that they do it because it takes a lot of work to do a quilt conference, and local guilds need a lot of help to do them. So they usually space them out. So look for your local quilt conference or quilt show, excuse me, by your local guild. Look for quilt conferences that are coming into your city, or maybe some of the cities that you're traveling in that may have one. And also look for your quilt museums, because that's another good place to go and see quilts that are on display at all time. And usually there's quite beautiful exhibits, excuse me, that are in place. So I'm just going to do a quick turnaround so you can see that we've had a very good turnout. There's tons of people just walking around constantly here. I think it's open from 9 to 6 each day. It ran from Thursday through Sunday. And then I haven't even gotten over to that side, which is the vendors. So I'm going to go over to the vendors in a bit so that you can see all of the things that you get inspired to buy. So drop down in the comments either the quilt that you think you like the most, maybe the quilt technique I mentioned, maybe you want to hear more about, and or maybe what questions you may have and how to get connected with your local quilt guilds, or how to find, so a lot of churches have quilt ministries as well. So let me help get you connected with quilting. I'm in Houston, so I definitely will, anybody that's truly local to me, I will help you get connected with quilting and make sure you find the right place for yourself. Hopefully it's with me, but if it's not with me, shoot. there's plenty of us who want to make sure that we inspire more people to come into the fold and enjoy what we enjoy because we truly do enjoy it. Y'all have a good afternoon and enjoy the rest of your Saturday.